Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regular school board meeting of Independent School District number 882. It is 5 p.m. on Monday, February 3rd, 2025. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Are the tentative agenda for tonight?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Melissa Curtis, seconded by Casey Root. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 6-0. Item number 4 is citizens' comments. We do have comments tonight, so I'm going to just read how this works. Monticello School District 882 Policy 206 governs citizen comments. And we have also described the process with video and guidance on our website. We welcome citizens to address the board at regular school board meetings. Board meetings are conducted under Minnesota open meeting law statutes. Open meetings are different from a public hearing or open forum. Are very important to the board. Speakers are contacted before and after the meeting to provide follow-up opportunities to continue to work on concerns or provide closure for any issues brought to us. Citizen comments in the open meeting by law must not violate student data privacy or personal data confidentiality. Each citizen is welcome to address the board for up to 3 minutes. A small digital timer will be displayed on the screens in the boardroom for timekeeping purposes for the speaker. I would like to welcome up Mr. David Decker.
Is it coming through? There we go. I'm going to talk just briefly about the 2014 referendum and possible renewal. I'm doing this tonight so that people watching the stream now and those in the future can learn about it, and then they can do some research and ask questions in the future. Before the school board meeting, I served each school board member and the superintendent a notice, which is to educate them on the subject. I will be sending the same notices to each of the Minnesota Supreme Court justices tomorrow. As parents, we want to teach our young children not to touch a hot stove or pan because we don't want them to get burned. A couple years ago, a presentation was given to the school board about integrity being taught at Eastview. A few weeks later, I did a citizens' comments session talking about integrity. What is the definition of integrity? It is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. The referendum renewal by school board, statute 126C.17 subsection 9B, is an unofficial act of the state legislature and governor. It is a violation of the Minnesota Constitution. The right, Monticello School Board's members, I am doing this as an aspect of teaching, educating, instructing, and informing. It's not a criticism. You haven't made any vote. It's to inform and educate. Monticello School Board members, you take an oath to the U.S. Constitution and the Minnesota Constitution. The Minnesota Constitution was written before any state statutes. By coming to many school board meetings, I have seen your position, your role as a school board member is not an easy one. But I ask you to be a person of integrity and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. On to item number 5, fiscal stability. We are on to the consent agenda. This is an action item.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Melissa Curtis, seconded by Casey Root. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 6-0. Now we're on to collaborative connections. The first item is a resolution for acceptance of gifts. Please help me welcome up Activities Director Gary Revnig to meet Superintendent Eric Olson at the podium.
We have the great honor here tonight to represent the Koen Beadle family. And it's a privilege to have gotten to know Ricky through his enormous passion for Monticello and especially Monticello sports and their students. And so today I'd like to, in behalf of what the community has presented to the Ricky Koen Beadle family, we're going to have Mr. Revnick share a little bit about the great donation made by the community in memory of his recent passing this fall. But once before handing the mic, I just would like to take this moment to just relive a couple of the words that I've heard about Ricky over these past few months and several years of knowing him and what he provided the district. But he was passionate, he was a character, he was a man of integrity, and he was a man that instilled the love of being active and doing the right thing for himself and being around people just to give his enormous gifts. And we are in great honor here tonight. And Mr. Revnig, I thank you. You've been instrumental in bringing forward and working with the family. And so I'd love to hear what the community has presented us with here today.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Olson, and thank you to the Koen Beadle family for being here tonight. So not only am I here representing the activities office, I'm also here tonight representing our gymnastics program and our boys and girls track program. I want to thank the Koen Beadle family and their friends for this generous donation that they made to our Monticello School District. Ricky was a spotter in our gymnastics program when he was in high school. He started giving back already as a student in high school. His job was to keep our gymnasts safe, and according to our coaches, he excelled in that role. The gymnasts need a good spotter so that they are confident to push themselves in whatever event they are competing in, and Ricky excelled in that. He also participated in track during the spring, and he went on and he ran at the University of Minnesota Morris. When he came back, like many of our alumni, he asked where and how he could get involved in Monticello, and we appreciate that. With all the programs that we have and all the activities, we can't fill all of our positions if our alumni do not come back and help, and he did. And he jumped in. Ricky started helping in the after-school program, training in our strength and training program, training our athletes so that they could reach their full potential. Then in the summer, he got involved and worked with them in the summer in their off-season training. And we benefited Ricky's expertise and his knowledge in not only strength and conditioning, but in fitness as well, and nutrition. So with that, I've been meeting with the family, and with the donation, they'd like to give back to what Ricky was passionate about. So the first $5,000 is going to the gymnastics program. It's going to pay for an additional coach. It should cover an additional spotter for us for not only this season and next season. Okay, and obviously you know we have a strong gymnastics program, currently ranked number 1. Our track program, $5,000 to help our track program, the boys and girls. They said they needed extra storage out there. So the first thing we're going to do is buy a quality shed to put out there to store our equipment in. And if there's any money left over, it'll go to help the track program. Another $5,000 to our weight room. Been working with Mr. Mackey, trying to figure out what we need. Ricky's passion was agility and training and trying to get some new bands and things that we need to help our athletes, again, train in the weight room. And then the family also, Ricky had an expensive workout bike that he worked out with at home. They've already brought that in, and that's in our weight room, and our athletes are currently using that before and after school, and in our Phi Ed classes as well. So I just want you to know that Ricky touched all of us. He made us all better. He made the Monticello School District better. We miss him, so thank you.
Therefore, be it resolved by the Monticello School Board Number 82 to gratefully accept the following donations. The Ricky Botham Budo family, approximately $15,000. $5,000 for gymnastics to help pay for an additional coach, $5,000 for boys track and field to help purchase a storage shed, and $5,000 for weight room to upgrade equipment for the training.
Second. Moved by Jeff Hegle, seconded by Melissa Curtis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes 6-0. I just want to again thank the Koen Beadle family for being here, and it is pretty cool to see that Ricky's still making a difference, so thank you. All right, now we're on to our student representatives report. Help me welcome up to the podium Aloysius Thompson and Willa Scharmer.
Hello all, thank you for having us here. Throughout this, we're just going to give you an update on what's going on in the high school, what we have upcoming, some exciting wins, and then if you have any questions at the end, we would love to answer them. So first of all, coming up in about 2 weeks, we will have our Snow Week, which is run by Student Council. That'll be a week filled with dress-up days for students to participate in. We will also be hosting a staff versus students basketball game during the school day, hopefully to get some involvement and some school spirit. So that should be very exciting. We're looking forward to that. Then at the end of that week, prom committee will be hosting our annual snow dance, which will help be a fundraiser for this upcoming prom. And then we will also be selling flowers the week of Valentine's that students will be able to purchase up till Thursday, and then Friday morning we will organize them and we will be delivering the flowers to whoever they purchase them for to their second hour so that people can get a little Valentine's Day flower.
All right, and moving on to the next, we've wrapped up the registration process for 9th through 11th graders for the upcoming school year, and in the next couple of weeks, we'll be transitioning for the 8th graders who will now be entering the high school. I will have the pleasure of volunteering in doing so and assisting, so that's exciting, and we have tons of new courses to offer that I'm sure they will love.
And now, as you guys may have heard, our school is doing very well in the winter sports. And so to give a brief recap, girls basketball is 19-0 for the season. So an incredible season for those ladies. Boys basketball is going in 16-3 on the season. Girls wrestling has sections this Friday. Boys are mid-season and looking really good. Boys hockey, gymnastics, and boys swim are all on pace to win the conference. Our dance team just celebrated their first win and will be going to state this year for the first time in school history. So that's very exciting. DECA will be sending 12 students to the state this year. Our yearbook club is on pace for a great yearbook, so I've heard. Robotics has a trip coming up in the next week or two, which they're very excited about. And the Coyotes have had a very good season. Unfortunately, they did have their first loss, but otherwise are going strong. We also have some really exciting news with seniors coming up. This Wednesday after school, we will have 6 seniors signing with their colleges, which will go along with around 6 that signed in the fall. So we have a lot of very exciting things coming up with our senior class.
All right, and on to the next. My apologies. On to the next. For next year planning, like stated earlier, the 8th through 11th grade registration, many more class options are available, and there are many seniors who are committing now and are accepting college offers. Signing day is taking off, and many students are applying to scholarships. There is a continuation of the CNA course that has been going on for many seniors and has been a great experience for those who want to enter the work field, such as medical and health, etc. And yeah, many seniors are ready to just move on with the next steps of their life. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any questions?
Yeah.
Any questions for our student representatives? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just give a shameless plug for you guys, because I'm part of the team that's doing a Student Voices podcast. And so the first episode was released in the school newsletter last week. And we have the second episode ready to go, and we're working on episodes 3 and 4 coming up in the middle of this month. So check it out if you get a chance. And we have a lot of people behind the scenes, Gavin and Devaney helping us get that organized. But the Student Voices, and they're all 3 our student reps, are just doing a phenomenal job. They're really fun to be around and see their amazing leadership.
All right, now we're moving on to safe and healthy culture. Our first item is National School Counseling Week, February 3rd through the 7th. Please help me welcome up to the podium Director of Student Services, Sarah Welk.
Good evening, everyone. In honor of National School Counseling Week, we want to recognize the invaluable contributions of our school counselors who play a pivotal role in helping students succeed academically, socially, and emotionally. Their support goes beyond the classroom, guiding students toward future success through personalized academic advising, career exploration, and emotional wellness. School counselors foster positive and inclusive school environment, helping students navigate challenges and build the skills they need for lifelong success. This week, we celebrate their dedication, expertise, and commitment to shaping the future of our students. So thank you for your unwavering impact on our schools and community. We have school counselors at the middle school, and we have school counselors at the high school, so we want to give them a special shout out this week. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you. They do a lot of work for our district, and to say they stay busy is an understatement, so. All right, next, first reading of policies. Help me welcome up to the podium Director of Human Services, Mr. Rob Daniker.
The first time I get to say this. Chair Sieben, members of the board, Superintendent Olson, thank you for having me tonight. So we have first reading for several policies this evening. And just right off the top, policy 410, this is for review only. So Chair Sieben, please don't include this in our, we're not taking action tonight anyway, but this will not be forwarded for second reading next meeting. This is just for a policy that the Policy Committee reviewed on family medical leave policy. There were no changes on this, and this is an annual review, such as why the committee reviewed it. All right, the first one for true first read tonight is Policy 516, and that is student medication and telehealth. Because of legislative change, entire new section of this policy was added regarding telehealth. And so the purpose of this policy is to set forth the provisions that must be followed when administering non-emergency prescription medication to students at school. And then Section 4 of this policy is new, and it says access to space for mental health care through telehealth. And just succinctly, beginning October 1, 2024, to the extent space is available, the school district must provide an enrolled secondary school student with access during regular school hours, and to the extent staff is available before and after the school day on days when students receive instruction at school, to space at the school site that a student may use to receive mental health care through telehealth from a student's licensed mental health provider. So that's the major change to this policy. I'll pause for questions on 516. Hearing none, we'll move forward. Policy 516.5, overdose medication. The purpose of this policy as a means of enhancing the health and safety of its students, staff, and visitors, the school district, will acquire, administer, and store doses of an opiate and I'm just going to skip that word, specifically naloxone, and administration devices or kits for emergency use to assist a student, staff member, or other individual believed or suspected to be experiencing an opioid overdose on school district property during the school day or at school district activities. And so there were no major changes to this one other than the addition of one word under section 4, which was the word school, and then some changes to the applicable Minnesota statutes. So I'll pause for questions on 516.5, and no, please don't ask about the word I can't pronounce. Okay, seeing none. Moving to 517, student recruiting. The purpose of this policy is to prevent school district employees from exerting undue influence for purposes of securing or retaining the attendance of a student in a school. And so this one, by and large, this is really a policy that's in place to support high school league activities and the idea that schools should not be recruiting from other schools for purposes of sports or activities. So I'll pause for questions on 517. All right. 518, DNR, DNI orders. The purpose of this policy, the school district recognizes that it is serving students with complex health needs. The school district also recognizes that school district staff may be confronted with requests to withhold emergency care of a student in the event of a life-threatening situation at school or school activities, or be presented with a do not resuscitate, do not intubate orders. The purpose of this policy is to provide guidance to school district staff and parents or guardians in these situations. So fairly succinct policy altogether. I'll pause for any questions on policy 518. Okay. All right, so policy 522, Title IX sex non-discrimination policy and grievance procedure and process. So the policy committee and the board as a whole took up policy 522 this last September to adopt 2024 regulations regarding Title IX. In the last several weeks, there's been a change in federal guidance on this topic. And at the recommendation of our school's legal support, they've recommended that the school basically shift back to the 2020 guidance regarding Title IX, and that is the same guidance that is currently being given from the federal government as well. And so what the policy committee reviewed tonight is that we would, again, just delete in its entirety the updated guidance that was adopted in September and revert back to the 2020 guidance regarding Title IX. I'll pause for questions therein. Okay. Along with that is the strike through of addendum to policy 522. So the board will remember that in September, in adopting the 2024 guidance regarding Title IX, there was also a separate addendum which spelled out the practices and procedure therein that would be deleted in reverting back to the 2020 guidance on Title IX. I'll pause for questions on that.
So in 2 weeks, we'll meet for a second reading on these policies. Will we just simply be voting to eliminate that addendum? Is that the plan?
Yep.
Okay.
Other questions on 522 or the addendum? Okay. Moving to policy 524, Internet Acceptable Use and Safety Policy. And actually, Devaney will have to update the title for next meeting because the amended title is Internet Technology and Cell Phone Acceptable Use and Safety Policy. And I mentioned that, well, I'll get to that in a second. The purpose of this policy is to set forth policies and guidelines for access to the school district computer system and acceptable and safe use of the internet, including electronic communications. And so there was legislative change regarding cell phones. The district's policy on 524 already included language on cell phones, but to be more reflective of the adopted state statute, for proposal here is a more broad interpretation of cell phones. Previously, it was in policy was a restriction on cell phones. The legislation that was passed does not endorse or deny cell phone usage. It basically directs the school board directs the superintendent and school district administration to establish rules and procedures regarding student possession and use of cell phones, such that those rules and procedures would be part of student handbooks. And so that's a recommendation coming forward from the policy committee as well. I'll pause for any questions on 524. All right. Moving to 616, policy 616, school district system accountability. The purpose of this policy is to focus public education strategies on a process that promotes higher academic achievement for all students and ensures broad-based community participation in decisions regarding implementation of the Minnesota K-12 academic standards and federal law. In this case, the update, why we're contemplating this policy tonight is legislative update. And very succinctly, the legislature, the last legislative session, remove the term world's best workforce from this policy and statute and replace it with comprehensive achievement and civic readiness. And I'll pause for any questions from the board regarding that. Okay. And finally, policy 806, crisis management policy. This was, we are reviewing this one tonight as well because of legislative change. There were minor changes within the policy to the extent that it was the elimination of a reference to the commissioner of the Department of Education. We don't know exactly why they eliminated the reference to the Department of Education, just now says commissioner, but that is in total the change to that policy. And I'll pause for questions on 806.
Just to reiterate that all these policies are gone through by the policy committee before they first read. They're here for second read. So the committee does go through all of these in great detail, even down to the punctuation. So
Indeed we do. Anything else from the board tonight? And again, no action necessary, so continue on with the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Sieben.
Great, so this brings us to the end of our regular school board meeting. So we'll be adjourning at 5:28 p.m. And then following, we will have a work session this evening. So we'll do a quick 5-minute break and then we'll meet back for our work session. And our next school board meeting will be taking place on Monday, February 24th at 6 p.m. Thanks for joining us.